Good evening to all the dignitaries and participants present here. We have assembled here on the inaugural function of the lecture series on Pursuit of Excellence. I take this opportunity to request Sri Nareshwar Singh Chandel, President, HP High Court Bar Association, to welcome the dignitaries.
Honorable Acting Chief Justice Rohit Malibachi, Honorable Judges of Himachal Pradesh High Court, Learned Advocate General Shri Ashok Sharma Ji, Chairman Bar Council of Himachal Pradesh Shri Abhi Bhushan Ji, Additional Solicitor General Mr. Balram Sharma Ji, Senior Advocates, my esteemed colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to congratulate and convey my thanks on my behalf and on behalf of Himachal Pradesh High Court Bar Association to the Honorable Acting Chief Justice for starting the lecture series. I would like to remind that though it was a regular feature in the past and many legal luminaries including Honorable Judges of Supreme Court and various other High Court have enlightened the bar with their valuable views and shared their thoughts with us. Unfortunately, due to unavoidable reasons, the lecture series could not be continued. The very thought of starting this lecture series by the Honorable Acting Chief Justice is to enrich the members of the bar, particularly the young lot who are the futures of the bar and the bench. The High Court of Himachal Pradesh, in arena of justice delivery system, have been involving and bringing new and innovative method in building ways and manner in improving the justice delivery system. In that pursuit, the High Court of Himachal Pradesh, Bar Council of Himachal Pradesh and Himachal Pradesh High Court Bar Association have started lecture series Pursuit of Excellence to evolve higher understanding, improvement and achievement of higher standard and work culture for the benefit of self and all. When we talk about this subject, Pursuit of Excellence, we keep in view our perspective, work culture and performance. If the country has to change for a better, then the way we all have to change the best. Before we start, it is necessary for us to understand the literal meaning of word Pursuit of Excellence. The word pursuit means active, that you spend time doing usually when you are not working. The word excellence, on the other hand, stands for the quality of being outstanding and extremely good. Most of us are trying hard to juggle it all in life, career, work, family and self-care. We believe that in order to be the best, we should get the most out of it and be on the target in all fields of our lives. Though we all join this profession having different ideas, notions, meaning, choices and continue with it, and the meaning of profession changed with experience, number of years, hard work put in, failure and success, and above all, rich human active experience earned during the set period. With the year put in, the performance and pursuit to the active higher performance has increased. Our experience, expectations and cure for higher better pursuit in the trade, learning, sharing experience and made us a changed human being. Experience of time and work have shaped our profession. Experience in pursuit connected with excellence in our profession. All that is required is regularity, always open to ideas, crave for better learning, some open space in the head, deep understanding of issues, its functioning, its problems, requirement and new method of learning and bringing innovative ideas, practice hard work and keep on improving ourselves towards the higher goal and standards. All these pursuits, craving for better and better learning, improvement, skill development, innovative ways and manner to achieve higher pedestals are the pursuit of excellence. I again welcome this endeavor made by the Honorable Acting Chief Justice, which hopefully will go long as which will go a long way in future. Thank you. Jai.
Thank you, sir. I request Sri Ashok Sharma, Learned Advocate General, to please address.
My Lord the Acting Chief Justice, Honorable Mr. Justice Ravi Malima, Honorable Mr. Justice Tirlok Singh Chauhan, Honorable Mr. Justice Sureshwar Singh Thakur, Honorable Mr. Justice Vivek Singh Thakur, Honorable Mr. Justice Ajay Mohan Goyal, Honorable Mr. Justice Sandeep Sharma, Honorable Mr. Justice Chandra Bhushan Barwalia, Honorable Mr. Justice Anup Titkara, Honorable Mr. Justice Josna Rewal Dua, Honorable Mr. Justice Satyam Vaidya, Shri Ajay Kochar, Chairman Bar Council of Himachal Pradesh, Shri Nareshwar Thakur, Nareshwar Singh Chande, Leonard, President of the HP High Court Bar Association, Shri Balram Sharma, Assistant Solicitor General of India, Honorable retired judges, Leonard Registrar, Registrar General of this court, other registrars, and my dear friends. Today, we are really privileged that we will be getting guidance from the Honorable Mr. Justice Ravi Malima, the Chief Justice. My Lord has a great experience on the bench as well as on the bar. My Lord has spent long years in the bar, and my Lord knows how to hone the skills of youngsters, and in fact I want to congratulate His Lordship as well as Mr. Ajay Kochar, as well as Mr. Nareshwar Thakur and the other honorable judges of this court, that they have taken this initiative for starting this lecture series once again. The profession of the lawyer is not an easy one. As of now, about 75,000 youngsters are joining the profession every year in India, and the total strength of the legal fraternity in USA is about 6 lakh. From this we can understand what is the magnitude and what is the issue. So many young graduates, law graduates are passing out from the different institutions. After passing the institution, they join the profession. They come to grips with the difficulties of the profession. They learn so many things in the profession, and they have also learned so many things during their studies also. But ultimately, what makes a difference between a good lawyer and a great lawyer is the cutting edge provided by the seniors. Nowadays, when the youngsters join profession, they straight away start their filing the cases and doing the practice independently. He misses so many things. Once a person remains with a senior, he will learn the ins and outs of the profession. Apart from that, he is taught how to prepare the cases. But many of us these days miss all these things. 1.5 years of COVID has virtually affected everyone. We have been having lecture series on different issues in this court right from, I think, year 2010. But unfortunately, after the COVID, everything discontinued. But this initiative is totally different from those initiatives. Those initiatives were directed towards the educating the legal fraternity with regard to the latest developments, with regard to the various issues and other things like that. But this particular lecture series, which is being inaugurated by the Honorable Chief Justice, Acting Chief Justice today, is straight away for the lawyer community. During the profession, when we come fresh from the law colleges, we already had learned so many things in the colleges. But unfortunately, with the passage of time, we start forgetting all those things for the reason that we are too much engrossed in the profession. We don't get time to think over that. This is virtually a refresher course for all of us, whether young or old. Once we are in the hall and we are being guided by a legal luminary who has spent so many years in the profession, that will definitely remind us of our duties, our duty towards the system, our duty towards our client, our duty towards the society. So far as the system is concerned, our first and foremost duty is towards the system. That is the justice delivery system. We have to be honest towards the system. We have to be honest towards our client. We have to be honest towards the society. Apart from that, there are so many things which we miss. For example, at times we are assertive in the court. We have to be assertive in the court. But assertiveness should not lead to arrogance. We have to make our point politely and in a most humble manner. But that's it all. We have to stop there and there. Nothing more than that. We cannot stretch a point beyond a limit. Those things, for example, pleading, etc., all of us have learned so many things in the law colleges. Even in the profession, we have learned so many things. But there are certain things which we miss. This lecture series, I definitely hope and trust that will hone up all those skills. And I am grateful once again to the Honorable Chief Justice who has started this series. And I expect that with the passage of time, we will be having guidance from much more, many other speakers on the issue. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now I request my Lord, Honorable the Acting Chief Justice, to kindly deliver inaugural lecture, please.
Like entering the wrong courtroom. Very good evening to everyone. My esteemed brother and sister judges, Shri Ashok Sharma, London Advocate General, Shri Ajay Kochar, Chairman Bar Council of Himachal Pradesh, Shri Nareshwar Singh Chandal, President Himachal Pradesh High Court Bar Association, Shri Balram Sharma, Assistant Solicitor General of India, senior advocates and other members of the Himachal Pradesh Bar Association, the lawyer community throughout the state, the Registrar General and other registrars, officers, staff of the High Court, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to start off by asking you a question. What, in your opinion, is the most important room in the court for a lawyer? Where does he get to learn the most from? Some of you may be thinking it's a court hall, some a library, and some other place. But let me tell you from personal experience that the most important place for a lawyer is the bar room, or from where the lawyers congregate. A lawyer gets to learn the most from his interactions with the lawyers. Questions of law, questions of facts, questions of wit, or even questions of tact. Lawyers usually have answers to everything. While seniors will offer their opinions based on their vast years of experience, the juniors will offer a much needed fresh perspective to the queries. Since the onset of the pandemic, these interactions have been curtailed to a very great extent. Of course, numerous videos are available on the internet, but not all of them are as useful as an experience that you get from the bar room. Therefore, I thought it necessary that until and unless there are interactions and contributions by one and all, there will not be any progress. Progress cannot be as the speed of a bullock cart. It must be real and meaningful. Without interactions and exchange of ideas, it may be slow. Hence, I thought of commencing a lecture series, namely the Pursuit of Excellence, where people with rich experiences from all walks of life can deliver lectures and interact with the lawyers. I bounced this idea with the Advocate General, Chairman of the Bar Council, President of the Association, the ASG. We had a discussion on that. They were extremely excited and eager with the prospect of having such a lecture. I am sure that their individual contributions in the Pursuit of Excellence lecture series will go a long way in helping each one of you. I really look forward to their contributions. I also look forward to the sharing of the rich experience of my esteemed brother and sister judges. Each one of them is wonderful in their own way. Each one of them have a very different background from which they come, and I am sure that the sharing of their experiences will go a long way to assist each one of you. As you may have noticed, the program of Pursuit of Excellence is a lecture series. It is not just a law lecture series. This series will not just be restricted to law, but will cover other areas as well, so as to ensure a holistic development for the lawyers. It is a lecture series in the pursuit of excellence. Anything and everything that helps and aids in the pursuit of excellence will be a contribution to the series. All facets of life will be attracted. This is not a law-centric series. It is a human-centric series. What is the pursuit of excellence? The pursuit of excellence is the endeavor to excel in whatever one chooses to pursue. An individual may choose to be a lawyer, a doctor, an engineer, a sportsman, or whatever career. But excellence in the chosen field is what is imperative. The pursuit of excellence must not only be confined to professional achievements, but also extend to all facets of life. The pursuit of excellence is a phrase that I constantly heard from my father, late Justice V.S. Malimat, while growing up. I was taught to live by the ideals of this phrase. The pursuit of excellence can be aptly summarized by this quote by Martin Luther King Jr. If a man is called to be a street sweeper, he should sweep the streets even as a Michelangelo painted, or a Beethoven composed music, or Shakespeare wrote poetry. He should sweep the streets so well that all the hosts of heaven and earth will pause to say, "Here lived a great sweeper who did his job well." No work is insignificant. All labor that uplifts humanity has dignity and importance and should be undertaken with painstaking excellence. Unquote. As enunciated by this quote, one should try to be the very best in whatever they do. This doesn't mean competing with the people around you. Rather, it is aimed at improving oneself and to bring out the best version of oneself. There is always a better way of doing everything. Good is not good, and better can also be bettered. Following this principle, I will catalyze you into achieving the best. The pursuit of excellence has many facets. Insofar as the courts are concerned, there are many issues that need to be tackled, such as the reduction of arrears, the quality of arguments, procedural delays, and the like. However, the sine qua non in the pursuit of excellence, especially as far as the courts are concerned, is morality and ethics. Therefore, I will briefly dwell on the subject of morality and ethics in the courts. The lofty ideals of morality and ethics, which lawyers hope fervently to retain in their profession, seems to inadvertently fade into nonchalance with every passing case. Securing the truth and aiding the dispensation of justice gradually becomes secondary to ensuring the interests of the client, be it ethical or unethical, due to the overwhelming need to sustain oneself in the profession. What is important to secure the interests of the client? One should continue to act in an ethical manner despite all odds. This is applicable not just to the lawyers but to the judges as well, who must act without fear or favor in an ethical, moral, and virtuous manner in every decision that they take. If you don't have ethics, morals, or virtues, you have nothing. All the riches in the world, all the power in the world would pale in comparison. The terms morality and ethics cannot be defined in a singular manner. People have different ideas of what it means to act in a moral and ethical manner. I will briefly touch upon the important facets of these terms as propounded by philosophers such as Kant, Socrates, and Plato. These theories are subject to interpretation and have been argued against as well. But it is interesting to look into these and consider morality and ethics from a theoretical standpoint. According to the German philosopher Immanuel Kant, fulfilling one's duties equates to acting in a morally right manner. The ultimate result of the act is immaterial as long as it was performed with the knowledge that it was the right thing to do. The conviction that you are doing the right thing is what makes it moral. The outcome of the duty might turn out to be different from what one hoped for. It would be while undertaking the act, but the fulfillment of one's duties would render it to be moral. By way of an illustration, if a client lies to his lawyer, due to which the lawyer commits perjury in court, the actions of the lawyer would be considered to be morally right as per Kant. It is important to keep in mind the distinction between legally right and morally right. Notwithstanding that the lawyer is ultimately guilty of perjury due to the actions of his client. Since the lawyer believed that his client was telling the truth, the actions of the lawyer are deemed to be morally right. All that is necessary to be moral in Kant's eye is performing one's duty in a sincere manner, unmotivated by any external circumstances. It is a conviction of the lawyer that he is doing the right thing which shall make it moral. If in the above example the client is guilty of murder and had truthfully informed his lawyer of this, there are chances that the lawyer may have chosen not to represent him, depending on whether the lawyer is a weak adversarialist or a strong adversarialist. A strong adversarialist would have gone ahead with the defense, irrespective of his client's guilt. However, a weak adversarialist would have either chosen not to represent the client at all or to represent him while at the same time ensuring that he fulfills his duty towards the court, such as not tampering with the witnesses, suppressing evidence, etc. As per Kant, the strong adversarialist would be considered to be morally wrong, since the traits of a strong adversarialist are to defend his client with little regard for anything else. A weak adversarialist who does not defend his client would be considered to be morally right. Whether Kant would consider a weak adversarialist who defends his client while at the same time ensuring that his duties towards the court are fulfilled to be morally right is once again subject to interpretation. This is reminiscent of Socrates, who propounded that virtue is knowledge in that to know the good is to do the good. Wisdom and truth are said to represent the highest good, since it leads to the improvement of one's soul, as per Socrates. It is therefore highly likely that Socrates would consider the lawyer who represents the client guilty of murder to be bereft of virtues, since the lawyer is doing so with the knowledge that his client has wronged somebody and deserves to be punished. Whether the lawyer is doing so while fulfilling his duties towards the court is unlikely to be of any consolence to Socrates. For Plato, a virtuous man is one who functions in accordance with his form or essence. As per his theory, it is imperative to strike a balance between the three elements of one's soul. The rational element is the highest in hierarchy, followed by the spirited element, and lastly the worldly appetites. This concept of the tripartite soul is employed by Plato as the key to morality. For Plato, one would need to control the worldly appetites, including desires and needs, as well as the spirited element, which consists of emotional drives such as anger, ambition, aggression, and the like. This must be done through the rational element and by fulfilling one's nature through the realization of one's capabilities and powers of a human being. Plato would probably not consider a lawyer who represents a client guilty of murder to be balanced in terms of the tripartite soul. This is because Plato would argue that two of the elements, the spirited element and the worldly appetites, are what would motivate a lawyer to defend a client accused of murder. The desire to attain fame as well as money through the defense of the client guilty of murder would be equated with the spirited element and the world appetites overpowering the element of rationality. The ability to control the spirited element or the worldly appetites of the tripartite soul would be considered to be absent in such a lawyer. Hence, Plato would not have considered such a lawyer to be virtuous. While this is the simplification of the theories propounded by Kant, Socrates, and Plato, it is a good starting point to understand the deep ocean of morality, virtues, and ethics. These theories can be interpreted in many different ways and have their own share of supporters and dissenters. I for myself do not subscribe to some of these stances, since even a person who is guilty deserves adequate and a fair representation, and following due process is what sets the courts in India apart from a kangaroo court. Analyzing different theories, however, is thought-provoking. And coming to morality and ethics, I would like to quote what happened when I was practicing as a lawyer in Karnataka, because that has not only had an impact on me but also on the other members of the bar and the bench. There was a very contested matter pertaining to a bail. There were infractions between two communities. There were assaults and injuries that were committed. And as a reaction to those incidents, the other community ran into the village and virtually burned down the entire village. It was a communal disharmony between two communities. So the FIR was launched. There were more than 100 accused. The investigation officer had the statements of 1,000 villagers. Everyone had narrated the names of the accused. Virtually it was an overtime, it was an absolutely tight case. So this lawyer came to me from the official area and said, this is a difficult case. I trust you to do the best. So I read through the entire case papers and on merits I really didn't find anything worth it that the judges, that any judge would accept. You had a series of witnesses who had seen. Each one had narrated the fact that the first accused had burnt this house, the second accused had done this, the third accused had done that. So it was very difficult to get out of it. So when I was pondering over how to deal with this and how to get bail for my clients, I came across a magazine which I continue to subscribe even after 14 years, which is called the Reader's Digest. I'm sure most of you must have heard of it. So that had a small form in that which said that if you give a list of 20 of your friends along with their names and addresses, we will give you a free book or something like that. So I said, okay, I mean, it's a good chance to get a free book. I mean, who doesn't like free gifts? So I started writing, entering my friends' names. I could not cross beyond 4 to 5 names with their addresses. It was then that I had a relook at my bail papers and found that the names of 100 accused with their fathers' names, their addresses, were all lodged in the FIR within a span of less than an hour. So when that is the only point I argued before the learned judge. I said, my lord, you cannot give a list of 100 accused in less than 1 hour with their father's name and their addresses. This whole thing is concocted by the prosecution. You cannot do this list. And that impressed the judge. And I was granted bail. All my accused persons were granted bail. So the judge dictated the order and said, it appears to be a concocted prosecution case. You cannot give a list of 100 accused in less than 1 hour. Anyway, so that happened, and everybody, the lawyers were excited. I came back and I realized that the judge had not imposed any conditions while granting bail. Normally you impose conditions that you should visit the police station once a week. That is done here? Maybe once a week, once in 2 weeks, once in 3 weeks. That was not done. So something in me I felt very disturbed by that. I thought it's not fair. Well, I've argued the matter, judges passed the order, but I was still not satisfied. So I told the trial court lawyer that I would like to I would go back and make a mention of this to the court. He dissuaded me. He said, no, it's the judge's discretion. He has passed an order. The matter ends. You have nothing to do. But there was something which I was really unhappy about. Something very disturbing. So I went back to the court before the learned judge rose. And I told him, I said, Lord, this is a matter where the communal tensions are running very high. Your lordships have granted bail. I am very grateful to you for that. You have not imposed any conditions on me. If it is deliberate, then it is fine. But I thought it's my duty to bring it to your notice that a case of this nature, where the communal tensions are involved, would send a wrong signal to the society. You must impose the conditions of marking your attendance with the police. So it was then that the judge realized that there was an error in his order. And of course, the public prosecutor always gets blasted for these things. And the conditions were imposed. And why I'm telling you this is, just winning your case is not enough. I had already won the case. There's no need for me to go back to the court and tell the judge to put me on terms. But the ethics and morality of a judge, of a lawyer, is what should pinch you. It is only then that you are a human being. It is only then that real justice is delivered. Just getting an interim order on behalf of your client is not sufficient. It's the entire society that becomes important. If in a communal clash matter, somebody gets bail and he walks out without even a single condition, what will society really think of that? That is what really hurt me. I felt very bad, and so when I went and mentioned and it was done, it was only after that that I was satisfied. And I must tell you that that particular incident in the court, though it was very spontaneous as far as I was concerned, had a tremendous effect on me and the others. Just as how the lawyers keep discussing the judges in the bar room, we judges also discuss the lawyers when we sit across. We say, no, this lawyer did this in my court, that lawyer did this, he's good, he's not good, whatever it comes to be. So that really acted as a sort of a booster to me. So being good, being ethical, and being morally right will prove to be a great advantage for you. Not only just vis-a-vis your clients, but even so far as your own conscience is concerned. So being a good human being is really important. Not just being a successful lawyer and making money, that's just one part of it. Therefore, the emphasis and focus of the pursuit of excellence is not law-centric. It is to make each one of you a better human being than what you already are. Because I remember when I joined the bar, there was a very senior lawyer called Krishnamurthy. He was my grandfather's contemporary. He was almost close to maybe 80 or 85 years. So I met him and I sought his blessings. I just joined the bar, I just got involved. So he said, what blessings do you want? So he said, sir, I want to be a good lawyer. He said, what rubbish. What's a good lawyer? There is no such thing called a good lawyer. First learn to be a thorough gentleman. Everything else will follow. So the entire, that small bit of advice that you get from your seniors makes so much of a difference. It has so much of an impact in your life. So what's more important as a human being is that one should first attempt to be a thorough gentleman. The rest of it just follows. So that is the endeavor of all these lecture series. So you may not just have lectures in law and things like that, but the finer aspects of law, the intrinsic values in life, the standard of life that one must lead, that is the attempt of this series. And as one of the great sayings goes, I asked a wise man, tell me, sir, in which field could I make a great career? And the wise man said with a smile, be a good human being. There is a lot of opportunity in this area and very little competition. At times, the ethical or the moral choice may not seem to be the most practical choice. It may not even be the most lucrative choice. It may not even be the choice of the masses. But it will always be the right choice. A right choice is always the right choice, come what may. It will hold you in good stead in the long run. One who is morally and ethically right will always be able to walk with their head held high. The same, unfortunately, cannot be said for the morally and ethically corrupt. As said by Robert Frost in The Road Not Taken, two roads diverged in a yellow wood. I took the one less travelled by, and that has made all the difference. I wish the program and the future lectures every success, and I do hope that all of you will pursue excellence. Thank you for the patient hearing.
Obliged, Your Lordship, for thought-provoking ideas. Now I request Sri Ajay Kochar, Chairman, Bar Council of Himachal Pradesh, to please propose vote of thanks.
Warm and cherished, even to all present. It's my privilege to propose a vote of thanks and acknowledge the contribution of those who worked hard to make this event a grand success. On behalf of the Bar Council of Himachal Pradesh, I give really a heartfelt vote of thanks to Acting Chief Justice, Honorable Mr. Justice Ravi Malima, for taking initiative and inaugurating this Pursuits of Excellence lecture series, as well as delivering an inaugural lecture. And I also thank the Honorable Judges of the Himachal Pradesh High Court present here for taking out their time from their busy schedule to grace this event. I would like to thank Shri Anas Chandel, President HP High Court Bar Association, for his welcome address. I would like to thank Senior Advocate Shri Ashok Sharma, Advocate General, for his address in this lecture series. I would also like to thank all the senior advocates and esteemed members of the SP High Court Bar Association for being present here. I would also like to thank officials of the SP High Court for organizing this event. Today's lecture was full of knowledge. The Lordship gave deep insights into the topic, and the views shared by my Lord, as well as the Advocate General, were really informative. I am pretty sure that the precious knowledge Honorable Justice Ravi Malimat gave us will definitely help us in our daily as well as future practice of law, and I hope and pray for the continuance of such lectures in future. Once again, I would like to thank Justice Ravi Malimat for taking out time from his busy schedule and enlightening us with insightful knowledge. I want to thank all present here for making this event successful. I may inform all present here that as desired by my Lord as well as the other members of the Bar Council of Himachal Pradesh and the President of the High Court Bar Association, that this will be a weekly affair, and I request all especially the young lawyers and the other lawyers to be present, so that there should be an interaction between the judges as well as the lawyers, and we can be better lawyers in future. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All the dignitaries on the dais and off the dais are requested to kindly join